The FNRad Snowboard Podcast is presented by Vans. All right, listeners, it's that time of year again. We've reached the end of Season 7. It's been a hell of a ride. Started out in Vermont, made the trip to visit Jamie in New York with intern Josh in tow. Rob Dow launched our YouTube channel, and we're working to come up with proper content to grow the show that way. I headed to Colorado, then into Utah, and when I got home to BC, it snowed like crazy. We had 8 weeks of spring in January and February. Miracle March brought epic snow and the return of powder, plus a bit of a bout with COVID. I've been invited to Holy Bully at the end of April, and I've got a couple more episodes to put out this year, so we're going to still keep it going, but it's not going to be every Wednesday like it is in the regular season. Thank you to every single listener out there. Season 7's been filled with amazing stories from amazing people. As always, the guests are the star of the show. Couldn't have it any other way. FNRad will be back with an 8th season next November. Oh, and we should probably do a fundraiser now. So I'm thinking to ask my friend Clarence Mills to make a signature yellow cedar core. And then Rob and Pepe, would you please make a custom-built wired snowboard for a raffle for the listeners of the show? I think that's going to happen. Also, check out the Instagram link in our bio to Jeff Patterson's World Snowboard Museum and Hall of Fame Kickstarter. Okay, I'll talk about that more at the end of the show. Season 7 of FNRad is sponsored by Wired Snowboards, the Boardroom Snowboard Shop, Anon Optics, Timebomb Trading, whose Hail the Rail event is on now. Check out Timebomb Trading on Instagram for details of this epic contest that could win you some epic swag. And of course, Tribute Board Shop in Nelson, BC. The Boardroom Snowboard Shop is where I worked when I moved here in 1993. The owner, Murray Fraser, is a visionary shop owner whose business philosophy has won the Boardroom all sorts of awards over the years, including Vancouver's Best Snowboard Shop. By offering the best selection of the best snowboarding products at the guaranteed best price, the Boardroom has been keeping boards on snow for over 3 decades now. Check out one of the Boardroom's 3 locations in Vancouver or North Van, or go to boardroomshop.com and enter code FNRAD10 at checkout to save even more with shipping available to the US and Canada. Support also comes from Mount Seymour, whose early bird seasons passes are on sale now. Grouse Mountain, where you can get an unlimited spring pass right now for just $119. New Green Superfood Drink, Volcom Outerwear, and Intuition Liners. Thanks to everyone who supported Season 7. Seth Huot is a consummate professional snowboarder with video parts, magazine coverage, a pro model on Santa Cruz, and everything in between under his belt. He was equally rad at riding street features and backcountry stuff. Seth transitioned to filming and producing his own films before becoming the Volcom Snow global team manager. His long career includes some all-time highlights, like filming with Mack Dawg, competing in the X Games Real Snow. Seth is a truly dedicated snowboarder, working and living a few minutes from Brighton, so he can get up there and shred whenever the snow is good.
This is my 30th season snowboarding.
Congrats, that's super sick.
Yeah, I started snowboarding in 1991.
Were you like 5 years old?
No, I was about 14. Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
So I'm 44 now.
Holy shit.
So yeah, I started right up the road at Brighton. I actually went to Park West my very first day, but it was a really bad day. And like when you're riding that resort's in Park City, and it's what the Canyons
is now,
and then now it's Park City, but really icy, had a horrible time, obviously like bruised my tailbone or something like that. And then I went to Brighton my, next time snowboarding, and I've been going there. I mean, I haven't missed a year of Brighton, so.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my home. It's really mom and pop. They've been able to maintain that for as long as I've been there, and it's only getting better as far as like how they're making it accessible for people.
Yeah.
And the different packages they're putting together.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the mountain always stays the same. The faces change, a bit.
Yeah.
But the vibe is just always perfect.
Brighton. Yeah. Yeah. People getting clicks, I guess, out here, right? Like kind of like Vancouver, you go to Seymour,
you're in with a different crowd. Then you go to Grouse, or you go to Whistler or Baker or whatever.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like where you get your pass.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people, they can probably get one pass, and a lot of these mountains aren't like conglomerated to where there's like a big pass and go anywhere whenever.
Right.
So yeah, Brighton usually. I mean, I grew up, and it was always it was like Brighton. It was Brighton's a vibe, and then Snowbird's its own vibe, and then Park City's its own vibe.
Yeah, the guys I came out to visit the first time I came to Utah were Park City guys. They live really close. I think they worked in a shop up there, and it was fun. They took me to the canyons too, and that I was like, we were riding some, like on a POW day. There's like these thin trees.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, this is, and they were riding so fast. This is fun. Like, there's so much here.
There is.
It really is a hub of like snowboarding culture, right?
Yeah, it's got everything. I mean, you have streets, obviously.
Yep.
A couple months a year, and then great parks. They got half pipes, incredible, just like runs, tree runs, and then all the backcountry access and snowmobile access. But at the same time, there's like, all the touring access. It really has it all.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, and it's really close to a major city.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that's, apparent. It sounded like they're thinking about taking a gondola, like building a gondola up the canyon or something like that to alleviate that. Like there were 6 people off the road on the way down, a couple of off the road on the way up. I didn't see signs of like insane gnarly traffic, but I could see that it's such a bottleneck getting up there. They could.
Oh yeah, a weekday powder, you're still looking at quite a bit of traffic, like in the normal, just like winter nowadays.
Yeah,
before it was not that case, but yeah, on the weekends it's nuts. Like definitely the last 2 years has just been like, okay, I'm leaving it. Like I live to the like curb at the airport 20 minutes and to Brighton 20 minutes. Like I'm directly right in the middle.
Yeah.
So accessibility is insane, like quickness.
Yeah.
And then like before it was like, I just leave at 8, because resort opens at 9. If I leave at like 8:15, whatever, I can put my boots on and get first chair or just get in line and go.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like POW day, if you're not out the door before 6:30, you're dust. And then you're sitting in the parking lot for like 2.5, 3 hours before it even opens.
It's the worst.
And then half the time, like I'm taking, like if I'm trying to go up in the morning to get a few laps before I, get to work, it's like I wait in the parking lot longer than I'm snowboarding. And then I go home.
Yeah,
but
man.
It's worth it. I mean, it's such
like all over.
Yeah, it's like I can't complain about it. You know what I mean? It's like it is what it is.
So going back to your roots, what's the first board that you're riding? Obviously, it's rentals at the icy ass bruising Park City stuff.
Yeah, I used the Friends board. It was a Look.
Oh wow!
For that, yeah, it was a Look, like one of those crazy boards they made with the black bases. And then the first board. That's a pretty funny story because like. I got into snowboarding, like I moved all around when I was a kid with my dad's job. So we kind of moved like every other year. So we finally planted in Salt Lake or in Utah, and I'd never even heard of snowboarding. Actually, like that's a lie. When I lived in Upper Michigan, there was Marquette Mountain.
Holy shit.
Right there. Yeah. So I lived kind of close to that, but I skied. I like skied maybe 4 times in my life, but I went skiing there and I saw snowboarding. I was like, that's snowboarding. And then that year, randomly, like Burton sent out these like mailers. So in the mail, we got this like Burton like catalog basically.
Sick. Just randomly, no one signed up for it. It was just
no, it just showed up, So and then that was the first images of snowboarding I ever saw. And then kind of like I moved to St. Louis, Missouri for like 1 year. I can't remember. Yeah, 1 year basically. and it was a big wakeboarding town because it's Lake St. Louis. So
Yeah.
the whole culture was I was starting to get more and more like accustomed to the culture. So wakeboarding was a thing, or they called it like scurfing. It wasn't even wakeboarding yet.
Wow.
It was like scurfing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like the thick foam boards.
Yeah.
With the plastic. Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
one of those kids had a snowboard, and the one time it snowed there, they rode it down the hill or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever.
Sick.
And then we
sick.
moved to Utah, and my next door neighbor, who ended up being my super good homie, he had a snowboard. And I was just like, it was sitting in his room just like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, you have one of these things? This is nuts. So he's like, yeah, we should go sometime. I'm like, for sure. So I actually went with him my first day. And then the second day, like, I was like, all right, I'm hooked. Like, this thing is, like, so sick. I want to snowboard. And then one of the older kids in the town was like, he had a Sims pocket knife 144.
Sick.
And he's like, I'll sell it to you for $50.
Nice.
And I was like, yo. And I made $10 a week, like, in allowance, but I had to do all the chores. You know, you scrub the toilets, you sweep the floor, you vacuum,
Yeah.
wash the windows. And it could only be once a week.
Yeah.
And my dad was just like, yeah, I'll give you like $10 a week, you know, for doing this. And I talked him into giving me a little. I made $5 a week, sorry. And then I talked him into giving me 10 because I was going to work extra hard.
Yeah, I got you.
So it took me a month to save up enough money to buy this snowboard. And then when I went to go buy it, he's like, oh, just give me 40.
No way.
Yeah, because it had a crack. So he got stuck up the canyon. He was loose.
Yeah.
And he just like jabbed the snowboard nose underneath his truck tire to like get out of being stuck.
No.
So I had this like vertical crack down the center of the nose, but I was like, I don't care. It didn't hurt like the structure of the board at all. It was like still totally good. It was just like crack because those things were bomb proof back then.
Oh yeah, they were thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I rode that for like 2 seasons. You know, I had the old bindings and I painted it like mustard yellow. I was so psyched on it. Just like, oh, this thing is so sick. And rode that for 2 seasons. And then I was like, I really like snowboarding. And I got a job. I got a job being like a landscaper at the community college.
Yeah.
And then I saved up
That
enough.
probably pays pretty good, actually.
I mean, it was
job.
like $5 an hour.
Okay.
Like, what's the minimum wage back then? Like 1990, what? I think it was 1992?
Yeah.
93?
Yeah.
Yeah, 93. So, and then I saved up. I bought a season pass at Brighton.
Yeah.
And a Matt Cummins lib.
Oof, nice choice.
Yeah.
In 93 with the wave on it, like the pool skater on the bottom, wave on the top.
No, it was the Rad Rick.
Radical Rick. Actually
Yeah.
better even.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a board.
It was the board. I'm so bummed.
Yeah.
I do not have that board.
It sounds like a lot of people are because those boards are so expensive now.
Yeah, it was the red top sheet, you know, because he had it all colored in and it was all colored, but I had the red and then just the black line.
Yeah, red with the black line's a good one.
It was so I bought it from Salty Peaks.
Sick. Brand new.
Brand new. It was
what
like my
bindings
first.
you put on it?
I bought some Burton Freestyles from a homie.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because like they only had the 3-hole.
Oh yeah, right.
And I was like, oh, mellow. I'll just drill
the disc?
next 2 on the disc.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't really line up. So it was. I was always getting disco foot in both feet, like the first 2 or 3 days, and then, but that year, then they had they built the 4-hole disc to make it compatible. I went and bought that at Milo. Yeah, and it was sick.
Yeah, that's an epic combination. Freestyle bindings on a Matt Cummins. You're progressing. Like your freestyle game is on point in that board.
Totally. And then I got my license I think later that spring. Yeah. And I was able to start going quite a bit. Yeah. And then,
that's that.
Yeah.
So when's the first sponsorship and how does that come around? Like, Are you doing local contest series and you get noticed or?
You know what's funny? So I snowboarded all the time on the weekends, and nights. I'd go up at nights. And Brighton back then was crazy because like you never got a full parking lot. It was like the only time the parking lot fully filled was on Christmas break.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was like 2 rows of cars, 3 rows of cars.
Wow.
Maybe 4 on the weekends. It was nuts.
Yeah, so that's nobody.
Nobody up there. But the chairs, they had the high-speed quad, the Crest. So that was in, and then they had the old Millie chair, which was slow, and they hadn't even built Great Western yet.
Cool.
So, back in those days, it was just different stories. So it's like contests and stuff like that just weren't really a thing. And and I grew up in high school. I was like watching like so many snowboard videos all the time. Like, me and my friends, like all the kids were out partying. We were just like huddled in my homies' like basement drinking coffee. Like, whoa, we're getting wired. Like watching snowboard videos like The Garden, TB2.
Oh yeah.
8 tracks. Like
nice.
8 tracks is definitely ingrained, and all the old snowboard videos just over and over and over again. And so it was like, I always knew I was just like the dream of being a pro snowboarder was something. But dude, back then, like, pro snowboarders were something that like were in Norway or they were from Washington,
Sure.
Because like my heroes were like Peter Line and Jamie Lynn, obviously, and Dave Lee, the whole Mack Dawg crew.
Yeah, Joey.
Yeah,
man.
So it was just such a far off thing, but little do I know, it's so funny because I go back and watch those videos now and I'm like, all of these spots are in Utah.
Yeah.
Grizzly Gulch, Flagstaff, like Brighton.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. If I would have known that when I was a kid, it might have changed the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, I thought they were like somewhere cool, like I didn't think that Utah was like a place pro snowboarding.
Dude, this place is cool, but no, I understand. It's your house. It's like where you live. You're like, oh yeah, just this place.
Yeah.
Right.
So I actually graduated high school and kind of went to college, and obviously like when you go to college and you're fresh out of high school and you're not focused on it.
Yeah.
I just snowboarded every day.
Totally.
I was so hyped. I was just going up every day and like snowboarding a lot. And then that summer I was like, all right, I'm going to get a job, like after I graduated, and I got a job. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, are you going to, or after that year of college, I didn't graduate college. It was like that first year. And it was like, oh, are you going to like go back to school? And I was like, I don't know. I kind of got a good job right now. I was like doing heating and air conditioning.
Oh, that pays well.
And I worked through the winter.
Yeah.
And I was like a full-blown weekend warrior. I was up there Saturday, Sunday without fail. And I had my other good friends were like, they were snowboarding every day and like working whatever, like a couple days a week, just getting by.
Yeah.
And they were just scoring. And I was just like dealing, you know what I mean? And dying just like every day at work, just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
So after that winter, I worked the next summer and I was like, I'm done. I'm going to go back to school.
Sure. Yeah.
But I didn't. And then that year, like, one of my homies, his brother is a professional windsurfer. His name is Micah Bazinas. That's his brother. He was like one of the sickest windsurfers for, like, they lived in Hawaii, I think, of Maui. And then Jake, my friend, he had the whole like vision of what it takes to be a professional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of his brother.
Right.
Training, contests.
Yeah.
Everything else. So he like kind of sparked the idea that he's just like, let's like push ourselves and like try to be pro.
Rad.
And it was kind of crazy because it was like, he kind of got all like competitive, but he needed that, you know what I mean? And it was like, so we started going around. Like they used to have contests like up at Brighton Head Mountain Resort down.
I've been to Brighton Head.
Yeah.
From Vegas, we drove up there.
Yeah, so they were having contests because they were always trying to get people there because they would get people from Vegas, like you're saying, and then Salt Lake too, because it's like right in the middle.
Yeah.
So they were always having cool events, and the parks. I mean, dude, they weren't even.
Yeah.
they were barely jumps.
Yeah, I rode there in 95 or something, 94 or 95.
Yeah.
And we didn't ride the park.
Yeah.
It was fine for the time, but it wasn't like sick or anything.
No, and they just make a mound of snow and put a lip on it and be like, it's good.
It was tabletop days.
Right.
Yeah.
So we started doing those, and then there was a couple in Utah, and then I started going and getting in like USSA and USASA contests.
Yeah.
Like I went to Colorado and won a pipe contest.
Oh, sick, dude.
Yeah,
That's
it was
epic.
insane. Like Matt Peterson was the judge, and I was so psyched. Like,
That's
won
pretty
the
sick.
pipe. Yeah. But that was probably never rode pipe since. but
Awesome.
no, we started doing like that amateur contest, but that was before like there was like a formula. You know what I mean? This is pre-Olympics.
Yes.
This is like there's nothing going on. It was like 1996. You know?
Yeah.
So kind of starting to do that, but then what really like kind of sparked was the crew. You know, where I was meeting people and everything, and then met another couple kids that were just like, yo, let's try to like go and hit kickers at Brighton because they're all over the place. And right at that same time, like all the Utah, like Jeremy and JP and Mitch Nelson and Brandon Bybee, Jason Murphy, that whole squad was kind of taken off. And Jason Brown was huge too in Utah.
Yep.
So it was kind of like, oh, wait. Yeah, let's go. I want to do 5s. I want to do 7s, you know? So right then, like, just kind of stopped doing contests. Like, kind of did well in a few in Brighton Head just because, like, it was, like, easy money because you could go down there and you could win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So kind of doing that, but at the same time, just more focusing on, you know, just, like, trying to get good.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, because there wasn't good parks in Utah at all. But pre like the whole like I ride Park City days, Park City All-Star days before they started like caring about parks.
Right.
Brighton would put in these crazy jumps. They were actually really gnarly. like this jump they called Bertha, and they just put a lip and then there's kind of like a natural landing, right? It's kind of where the park is now, where everyone stands, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so there wasn't really like parks. So if you wanted to go and like hone your tricks and get everything dialed, you'd go build it.
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, the windows of going and building it is like, okay, we got to wait for a storm. Got to do this.
Totally.
And mind you, we did not know anything about snow safety. Anything. I mean, luckily we weren't like riding faces.
Yeah.
Because that would have been just crazy.
Yeah.
There's no Avi report back then. I mean, you called a number.
Yeah.
And got like the report, like you knew what it meant.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes the report would be, oh, you mean like an Avi report? Like they would say like, yeah, it's moderate to, you know, dangerous in the above the tree line or whatever. And you're just going, okay.
We didn't know what aspects meant. Didn't know any. I cannot believe like. And then one year we were just like, oh yeah, we should get beacons. Like, yeah, we need to like get beacons. And then you get that blue Ortovox that is they're pre-digital beacons. So
yeah.
It's that thing's
analog stuff.
Yeah. Thing was like useless. So
right.
So we were going out and doing that and learning our tricks and everything. And then we just decided like it was like right when like digital cameras broke.
Yeah.
So we decided like, all right, let's like pool our money, and we bought the Canon GL1, the mini DV.
Yep.
And we were just like, let's make a video, because like we were just watching Mack Dawg videos, you know, all the time, and we were just like dreaming of just like, you know, seeing all the people here just blow up and become like superstars, going to the premieres. Snowboard culture was just like at its peak, or not really peak, but like just at a high point. For the time. And then we just went for it. And one of the kids that I was hanging out with, he worked at a shop called Bikeboard Blade in Sandy, and he knew a lot of reps, but they carried Airwalk. And Airwalk made snowboards and boots and they made everything, like head to toe outerwear. And he knew the rep, and all of a sudden, like, he kind of got flowed from him.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh yeah, you should check out my homies or whatever. And like all of a sudden our whole crew was like sponsored by Airwalk.
Like the entire group has all
And-
Airwalk stuff.
Yeah.
That's epic.
And through that, like, we, you know, and then us filming our video, like, because
Yeah.
we were just putting the time in, and it's pretty rad. So we pulled all of our money. My wife now, she's like bought me a computer.
No
Like
way.
she started it all.
Wow,
Like
that's so
I got to
sweet.
give her the whole credit. So she
Yeah.
started it all. And then I like got some like ripped version of Adobe Premiere or something like that. back
Yeah, I
then.
remember you could get that, like just like a disc.
the disc
and
with
it would
the
have-
serial number?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
Yeah, so
I've had that.
So then, yeah, like, so she started it, and then, yeah, we made a video,
Yeah.
and I learned how to like edit and
Sick.
like figured it out. And that like kind of got me on that video part kind of got me, or at least like the clips of, cause it was kind of that year that was happening, kind of elevated me on Airwalk to be recognized by like the global team or whatever.
Sick.
But it was like a B team kind of thing,
Right,
like a
right.
rookie team.
Did you break those boards? I remember those boards being like they rode really well, but they were like foam core. We broke a couple.
So that was the A1 board.
The A1 unit.
The
yeah.
ones that came out of the Focus factory in Montreal.
Yeah.
Best boards I've ever ridden.
Oh, sick,
Probably
sick.
even to this day. They're capped. It was called the Airwalk Legend. I can't remember what model it was, but that was one of the best boards I've ever ridden. Like cap. It's crazy. I was just talking to someone. I was like, man, I wish they made capped snowboards again.
Oh, that's great that you're saying that, because
Like-
Emmanuel Krebs was just on this week, and he's like, he went to Solomon and was like, please make sandwich boards again.
Yeah.
Just make sandwich boards. These caps are not what I want. But yeah, those cap boards were really grippy.
Yeah, I mean, they turn really well.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
now
were
with
fun.
rails and everything, it's kind of gnarly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Does anyone make cap boards at all right now?
I haven't seen one. Maybe like on the nose, you know, like on the tip and tail, they might be like capped.
But those full cap boards were just like, they were almost disposable how like fast they bagged out, but
Yeah.
they were super, out of the package. They rode super awesome.
Totally.
Really edgy.
Totally.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and then my team manager was Renee Hansen.
Okay.
I know he went on to like Burton for a long time.
Yeah.
But he just, for whatever reason, he just like was like, you're on. I
He
was
saw
like,
your part and was like,
sick.
that's that. So you didn't have to win some contest and get set up from that. It was literally a sponsor me video part kind of thing.
100%.
Oh, that's sick.
100%. Yeah, I put my part on the tape, and then I just kind of like was like, yeah, cool. And then he that summer, I released the video in like the spring or whatever. And then that summer, he quit and went to Burton. So I was kind of like, oh, well, I don't really know, like still riding for Airwalk, whatever. A week after that, Blue called me. Right, and he was like, "Hey, I've got this thing. Blue Montgomery. He's
Yeah,
like,
man.
I've got this thing I'm gonna do. I can't really say what it is, but I want you to be a part of it." And I'm like, "Oh, whoa!" And he's like, "Yeah, it's like snowboards." And I'm just like, "Oh, wow." And I'm like, "I'm in." I was like, instantly, I was just like, "I'm in. Whatever it is, I don't care. I don't even know what it is." And then like he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing it with like Jason Brown and Kevin Jones."
Oh my God.
And I was like, holy. So I was like, all right. And then that was the year that AMP came out.
Yep.
And there's one clip in Jason's part where he's like, it was one of those like lifestyle clips that you film in the summer. And he had this shirt on, and it's all Capita.
That's sick.
And I call up Blue right away. I was like, is it Capita? Is that what it is? Or I don't know. It was just funny, that whole thing. So yeah, I rode for Capita for a couple years, like fully like Blue, like give him all the credit, like for helping me get going, like in my snowboard career, like getting me like linked up with like, he sent my tape out to like Jay Twitty and, Brian Harris at Dragon and
Rad.
yeah, he just helped like plug me. It was just like, it's in, it's on.
So you go from head to toe Dragon or head to toe Airwalk to like a serious array of epic companies.
Totally. And with my tape, like I kind of like, I don't know, like kids weren't really like putting that together at the time. It was kind of like the first-ish era of sponsor me tapes. Maybe it was like the first era, because it was like digital cameras were brand new. Because before it was like was on a tape. And
Oh,
then,
there's some old, like I've
Yeah.
seen some old like sponsor me VHSs that are crazy.
totally
Crazy. But
totally.
yeah.
But yeah, I put them on I put it on VHS, and it had music, and it was just a part. You know
Nice.
what I mean?
That's epic.
And it was and he got me on DC and
Holy
linked me
shit.
up with Kleckner. I mean, I think that kind of came later, but it was it was Capita, Volcom, Dragon, DC. It was because he literally was just like, hey, well, who do you want to ride for? And I'm like,
Yeah.
Volcom, like that, but straight out of my mouth. I was like, Volcom. That was
Yeah.
because it was funny because when I was with Airwalk one summer when you're doing that PR stuff in September, ASR time,
Yes.
and trade show time, and that when that was happening, so we had Roman DeMarchi and Roger Helmsast-Stewin and Frederick Sarvel, and
Oh yeah.
they were all over, and we were down in San Diego and just making the rounds of Trans World, and Renee fully just brought me on. I'm just some kid, just oh. And he's like, yeah, let's go to Volcom. And I was like, wow. Because Roman was on Volcom. And
Yeah.
we went up there and actually met Jay Twitty and went inside the building, same building that they're at now. And it was just oh my gosh, it was such a dream. I want to ride for Volcom someday. It'd be so sick. And I was always thinking, because actually back when I rode for a shop here, it was the whole Volcom rep, and it's oh, can I get a pro form?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing ever came. but anyways, it was so sick to go there, and so instantly when Blue's who you want to ride for? I was oh, Volcom for sure,
Nice.
And that was the first. That was right after they launched outerwear. So they launched outerwear in 2000.
Yeah.
And well, we now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, and then that was the year right to when Luminous Llama came out, and I was just oh, this is the sickest brand. I'm so psyched, and I got on later that year through Flow, and I remember Jay Twitty sent me the box, and all I had in it was a jacket and then some denim, some ergo pants, and a couple t-shirts or whatever, and he was just wrote me some sick letter. I wish I still had that letter. It was on Volcom letterhead. It was handwritten, and it was what I remember from it though was it said the ball is in your court.
Oh wow.
And I was just oh damn, okay. So it's okay, here's your first box.
Yeah.
And I didn't really those are kind of right when cell phones were a thing, it wasn't crazy, but at the same time you didn't really keep in track with people. I wasn't emailing anybody. There wasn't.
Yeah.
Communication was pretty chill. And then I ended up seeing him at some event, and he's just yo, because I went and bought pants. I went to Milo, and I was
Good move.
I'm gonna go
That's
buy
a really
Volcom
good-
pants.
Yeah, that's a really good move. Now you got the full kit.
Yeah.
And if he sees you in these pants, he's gonna be this kid's fucking into it.
Totally.
Bought his own pants.
And he
That's it.
probably didn't even know. He's probably,
Yeah,
I'll just get him a quick box to get a jacket, whatever. It's probably
Yeah.
all they had. They
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
had 4 things extra.
Yeah, because shit would sell out every year,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Totally.
Back in those days.
And teams pillaging and everything.
Oh hell yeah,
So
yeah.
ended up seeing him Team Challenge or one of those different events. He's oh, we need to get you pants or whatever. And then
Nice.
and then and then that same year, Blue fully personal favor, because he was roommates with Whitey forever.
Yeah.
And he was just personal favor, hey, you gotta film this kid. I'm watching this new brand. I need to get him in there, and fully got me hooked up with Kingpin.
Yeah.
Shane Charlebois. It's funny too, because Shane, I was sending Shane clips that
Just to
were
film
in
with
my
him. To say
he was doing 411 at the year
Oh,
before.
right,
the year
right.
before he was doing 411 video mag, and I
Yeah.
was linking up with him, giving him digitapes of clips. So all a couple of my bangers ended up in that first premiere issue of 411 Snow.
That's smart. That's dope.
So he kind of was on, and that was his first year. So the year we were filming for Brainstorm.
Nice.
And then through just the whole Utah scene, and everyone's, kind of linked in and knows what's up. Mikey, he knew who I was, Mikey LeBlanc. And once it kind of came through, from Whitey, oh yeah, there's this kid Seth in Utah to film. Whitey and Shane, oh yeah, let's get him out. So,
Yeah.
or Mikey and Shane. So I was super fortunate to have those guys really like helped me get in there as well. So it was like Blue's personal favorite of Whitey, and then like the vouch of like Shane and Mikey, and I was just like, I cannot blow this, you know. I was just like, so I just went hard as possible. I started filming in February because I kind of like tweaked my knee that year.
Yeah.
So I started filming in February, and it was happening like right after the trade show. Because remember when the trade shows were back then? Like, kind of like
would have been in
January.
Vegas, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was like I had gone out with those guys a couple days in the Brighton backcountry, and then it was like I had a shot in a teaser.
Oh, sick!
In the Brainstorm teaser, and that was premiered at the trade show. And I was like, damn! I was like, it was like this session, you know, because I had gotten out a couple days with Shane and Mikey, and we just went back to all the jumps that I grew up riding. So it was like, all right, I can get a Cat 5, or I can do whatever.
Best. Yeah, man.
And then on that trip, Mikey's like, that's when the True Life teaser broke too. Yeah. And it was like, oh, these like crazy handrails, you know, like Bozong, you know, just like, with the aviators on, doing that captain board side on the triple kink. And then like, I don't know, there's like some other moves, like JP's big like gap to back lip in Montreal. And Mikey saw that and was just sparked. He's like, we're going back to New York, because he had been to Albany earlier that year. And he's like, we're going. So I was like, I have no money. Yeah. So, Blue like hooked it up. Obviously, he had no money. He's like basically giving me money out of his like personal checking account, pretty much, to like get me to go film. I don't know where the money is coming from, but I know the company didn't have any money. I didn't have any money, but I was filming this part, and he's like, "You're going." So got me on this trip, and like so sick. First rail trip. Before rail trips were like, that was like right when those things were like starting to be a thing. Like, where are you going? Yeah. Like, what do you mean? You live in Utah. You just go up to the Brighton. Like,
totally.
So that was kind of cool. And then that was really my first break, you know. I shared a part with Micah McGinnity, and he was a Volcom rider too, and I was so psyched to share a part with him. And then I think it was Marcus Eggy. Yeah. And that's just like, I was so stoked. And Twitty, so the next year at ASR, when that premiered, Twitty was just like, he's like, you did it. Yeah. He's like, you did it. You're on. Like, nice. Like, you're on. Let's go. And then I was like, fully, like, that's what like locked me in on like the team for Volcom. You know, I wasn't just getting flow anymore. I was like, you're on. Like,
writing a contract.
The ball was in your court, and you went and shot a basket.
That's so sick, dude.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, wow. That's quite the story to get like started. You know, most people, it's some sort of contest thing. But you guys saw it. You know, for the next 10 years, videos were the place that not 10 years, because True Life's towards the end of it. Like the video sales start to fall apart and it goes digital.
Yeah, you know, in my head, kind of where videos, I guess I got to get on that topic. Like, once the DVD broke, you know, like I remember tapes. There was no faking tapes. Like, you can't. People tried to dub them, and you had to have 2 VCRs, and then Mack Dawg made that Macrovision thing that put like static in it. It was never right. Yeah. Because like, I mean, dude, I have the sickest pirated tape downstairs, like Broken Penniless, Hard the Hungry and the Homeless. It's it's got like 5 the sickest videos, and like and I think the best way to experience a snowboard video is on VHS.
Sure,
because
man.
You put it in, you push play. You sit down. Sure, you can fast forward or you can rewind, and we all did that with the slow-mo, but it wasn't easy. No. It wasn't like, you know, it was still that moment of like, I got to get through this part. It still took a minute to fast forward.
Totally.
So you just ended up watching it always start to finish.
That's true.
And it was like, to me, I still go back and watch all my tapes from time to time.
So do I, actually, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, to me, it's the most pure way to sort of enjoy a snowboard video or a skate video. Yeah. For me, anyways. Because I sit down.
Tracking all weird in the beginning of the soundtrack and everything. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I throw it in and I chill.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
Because like once the DVD broke, and then it was like people skipping.
Yep.
So you're not watching it, you just skip and whatever. But more so, that's when the DVD ripping. Once the DVD ripping started happening, that's where it fell apart.
Yeah, and then people started putting out stuff like direct to web, like those web edits. I remember seeing the web edits the first year that they came out, and I'm like, oh shit! Like they were doing that like this month. Like,
Right.
what is going to come out next year? Like nothing. Like we're at the present. That's that. And then you just see it, and then it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
it took the lure away.
Yeah. You weren't waiting to see what everybody did last year.
Right.
It all of a sudden became like really just current.
I remember, and it's crazy too, because like when web videos, it wasn't easy to watch video on the web.
No.
When that was starting to happen, because I remember like back in the deep Transworld message board days or whatever, I remember seeing some like bootleg footage up on something of the Nixon Jib Fest.
Oh, wow.
The very first one, and I was like, yo, like, kind of like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like polished, it wasn't edited, it wasn't anything, it was just clips. And I was just like, this is nuts, you know?
Yeah. Harder to watch too, right? Like it became really confusing, I found, for videos. Mm-hmm. Like I missed those days of video premieres and waiting until, you've got nothing to do really in September, October, November. You're waiting for the snow. So the whole community coming together, sitting in a theater, throwing beers at the screen or whatever, winning prizes or like that's so fun. But it just went away. And then everybody kind of scattered as a community. There was less cohesion.
Right.
Because you could really specialize in who you were watching. You could just watch your favorite guys.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, those times, I don't think they won't be like replicated in that way.
I don't think they can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And the way how big it used to be. Remember the Spreckles premieres in San Diego?
I didn't go.
Were psycho.
Yeah.
It was mental. I remember like Brainstorm, and seeing my footage on the big screen and like
with so many people,
and everyone's going nuts. And for every part, right? And it was just like, like it's crazy. I've been to a few premieres this season though, like in particular, like there's been some good premieres, and Salt Lake usually always has good premieres, but like the Torment premiere has been insane, and the Sims premiere is insane. Dustbox, obviously.
Yeah.
And you do like the energy is definitely, I'm finding that it's like, it's kind of a thing again. Because I know that it probably went through its like down times, but.
Yeah, there was a time where I went to a Burton premiere at a movie theater, and we walked in, and I can't remember who the pros were. It was probably Sullers and Mikey Rance or somebody. Oh, yeah, Jeremy Jones was there because he was on the team at the time, which I remember thinking, whoa, they flew fucking Jeremy here for this. That's sick. And we were late. We're like, hey, sorry, we're late. And everybody had like a super weird energy as we walked in. And we're like, sorry, we're late. What's going on? And we went and took our seats. We were the only people in the theater. Like the three of us, we had just got super baked too. So like we sit down and we're looking at each other like, there's more pros here than there are people to watch the video.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucked up. Like it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for everybody. They had like posters out to sign, and we were just like, we watched the movie and then we got the fuck out of there because we were like, this was weird. You could hear them chattering, saying like, hey, someone was supposed to put up the posters and they blew it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it was just embarrassing. And that was really the start of this lull in video premieres and even videos. Like they stopped putting out as much shit.
Right.
And then for us in Vancouver, the Wildcat premiere, the return of the Wildcats and the Man Boys, it was kind of like the old meets the new, and it just was on again.
Yeah.
So we've had a few really nice movie premieres. The King Snow one, because it's so like all the local heroes are in that. It was cool to see Mikey Cicerelli like watching his part and like tearing up because like all of Whistler is there just cheering. Yeah, fuck, it was so sick. So
that's awesome.
I agree with you. It's back on. That kind of community feel it never really went away, but it just didn't have any like place to manifest. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, yeah, everything's going to go through a change. And
Yeah. Well, Vegas changed to Denver.
Yeah.
And then Denver, I never went, but I hear it was like kind of a different vibe, right? Like it just didn't feel like Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And like ASR, what was crazy was like the surf and skate, that trade show in San Diego in September.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Super sick.
For
Yeah.
snowboarding. Because all the snowboarders would go, because a lot of the brands linked up and whatnot. And then everybody had premieres. It was like, oh, the Mack Dawg premieres tonight.
So good.
At Spreckles, or Whitey's tomorrow night at Spreckles, or
Sick.
or someone's up at Oakley. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah, it's just different times, and I don't know. I feel like it's coming. It's like in a good place though.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
feel
definitely in a good place for sure.
what's
Because we've
happening.
reached critical mass too, right? Like there's so many people snowboarding, and most of them don't get it, which is fine. Because there's still so many people that like love it and live it. You see it at every resort. There's like a group of people that this is what they do.
Yeah.
They come up and they ride together. It's rad. It's super rad to see where it's come to. So the middle of your career, like after that Kingpin part, you're filming parts for what, 10 years or something?
Yeah. Kingpin, I did that for like 2 years. The second year, I had like a rough year. I was kind of battling some injuries, and then I also wasn't landing much. Right?
Really?
So I was, but I was putting in so much effort. Like every day, me and Shane were just grinding and everything. And
Shane
like,
seems like an amazing person.
he's the best.
Yeah, hanging out with him, getting clips would have been amazing. Huh?
Yeah, he's the absolute best.
Yeah.
Like, and that was a year like Mark Frank was just. He was filming for Whitey. And
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it was a good program that year. Other than I wasn't really landing too much. I did get a bunch of footage, but it ended up in the after hours because that was happy hour.
Yeah.
So I had like a good little, like there was this after hours kind of techno section.
Yep.
And I had a bunch of footage in that, and that's kind of where all my footage was. So I went to the premiere thinking I had a part, and then I was like, I didn't have a part.
Ouch.
And I was I had like 5 or some shots kind of spread out throughout the video.
Yep.
And it just hit hard. I was like, dude, maybe I'm over it. You know what I mean? Like maybe I don't know. I worked so hard, didn't get a part. This sucks. Like everyone's gonna be bummed. But that same year, like I had footage in like the Jib Fest video, and I met Mack Dawg, when I went to, because that same year, yeah, I went to the Jib Fest when they were making the movie,
Yeah.
the documentary. So I was in that. And then I also was in, the Red Bull Heavy Metal that year. I like won that. So that kind of like,
Oh, sick.
kind of had, like one of the sections. So I kind of had these little boosts of, still some good stoke, even though it was kind of like a total kick in the stomach of not getting a video part. And it just motivated me so hard to just be like, all right, that sucks. And like Jeremy called me, and because Mikey, everybody was like, we're gonna make a Mack Dawg movie for Shakedown.
Nice.
And Jeremy called me and was like, dude, I want you to film for this video. And I was like, oh
Wow.
So it was a huge opportunity.
How's that feel that day? Like, was that best day of your life? Like you've been invited to film for Mack Dawg. The one and only.
100%, like insane. So just to kind of like these two weird little things, like the day back when I was riding for Airwalk, and when my team manager Renee is like, yeah, I'm not going to be here next year. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? This is crazy. I don't know if I'm going to ride for this brand,
Yeah.
Later that week, Blue called me.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like happened that fast, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. Like, so I get back from San Diego so bummed.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get a part.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy called me like 5 days later. And I was like, yep, I'm all in. I don't care. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't even it was like, I didn't even call like Brad or whatever. Cause that's when, Whitey was kind of handing it over to Brad Kramer.
Yep.
I was just like, yeah, I'm doing it. I just fully committed.
Of course.
Like Mack Dawg is like who I grew up on. Like by far the most influential person on me as a snowboarder. Just like his videos just like, changed my life.
Yeah. I would agree.
Gonna
100%.
take this opportunity, and yeah, that year was nuts. It was like full big leagues. Like it was insane. Like go on the first rail trip, and it was like before. I mean, the very first one was actually Calgary in like October.
Oh wow!
And I kind of got like broke off. Like I got the rail, whatever it was, like first try. I was like, dude,
nice.
it's on.
Yeah.
So we had a good preseason that year, and I was able to warm up.
Yep.
But then I kind of got broke off, and I was like, I gotta fly home. This sucks. Like my knees kind of tweaked, so I hit a wall. And then the next trip was like right before Thanksgiving, so that's in November.
Yeah.
It was the East Coast. We went up to Burlington.
Wow.
And like it was like full big leagues. Like I was just chucking, going at anything I could, and it was like way over my head.
Yeah.
And then you have like Jeremy, JP, just like I mean, that was like their prime. Like they were just getting it. Like
Veterans.
Not really like they were just they had found their swing. They were just like they knew what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it was that easy. And they were just getting hammers. I think they filmed like so many crazy things that first trip. And I was just getting broke off. But whatever, I was going for it. And so that was huge. Filming for Mack Dawg, that was a big eye-opening thing. Like it wasn't like you had to go big, you had to do, there wasn't much fun involved.
I'm glad that you say that, because after I interviewed Jeremy, we talked off mic about getting that motivation. Actually, before we started talking too, he's like, there was like 7 years in there where I didn't really have any fun.
Yeah.
And I see it. I understand it. Like those video parts, people take them for granted. You know what I mean? Like this is your whole year. This is you giving everything to snowboarding. And Jeremy told me both he and JP had their own, personal torture ways of motivating themselves for clips, man.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, dude. You don't think that that's what goes into these parts, but we're talking about people who are legitimately scared. You have to be scared to be working on something that's either never been done or that's like big enough for the latest Mack Dawg thing.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine it being fun. The only person that seems like who could have fun in any of those situations is Devin. He seems like
Browner.
Yeah, they just do what they do. They're having fuck it. But I was surprised at how like just unenjoyable it sounded to be like a pro snowboarder during those heydays of the big film.
Because you couldn't put anything. There was no like place for B grade or C grade.
No filler.
Now, like there's like the gram or what
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
Stuff is rad. Or there's robot food revolutionized like injecting some like accessible fun into snowboard videos, which was
fun.
awesome.
Yeah,
totally awesome.
Yeah.
But back in those like days, like Mack Dawg, he knew what people wanted to watch.
Yep.
He saw it, and then you have like JP and Jeremy like pushing the boundaries of like innovation and what the limits are.
Yeah.
At the time, and then from my perspective, I'm in there just like. I'm just trying to keep up.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it was like, it was so gnarly to like try to be in that time. Like I think back, it's just like, what? I cannot believe it. You know what I mean? It's like not even real. Like you're out there and you're just basically just holding on white knuckle. Like you're scared. You're like the more scared you've ever been standing on top of something. And it's like, you got someone rolling 16. Like they don't turn the camera on unless you're doing something. Now people are just rolling around. They're just filming this. I got this artsy little shot. Blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
No filler. It was just all just like, oh, I'll turn it on when you're ready to go.
Who was the filmer with you on those trips?
Mack Dawg. He
Yeah.
was there for all the street stuff.
That's big.
Ross Steffi was there for like a lot of the powder stuff.
Yep.
Sean Kearns was there for some of those first trips before like Canada got going.
Yeah. How was Kearns to shoot with?
He's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like crazy.
Yeah.
So just leave that there.
Sure, man. No, of course. That's I can't even imagine being in that position. Like when I'm thinking of it through your perspective, it's like those 5 days or whatever after the happy hour premiere, you come back like, I don't know about you, but I think I would be like, fuck, okay, I gave it my all and I didn't even get a part. Like, I'm going to fucking quit, I think. And then to go from thinking about maybe not doing it to being like, oh, wait, yeah, sure, I'll do the Mack Dawg thing. Like, there must have been a bit of fear of like, I'm going to film all year, break myself off for this thing and maybe not get a part still.
Right.
Fuck.
No, you're absolutely right. It was just like you counted every single clip and you wrote it down, or you like mentally just like, that's kind of how you kept yourself from being away from the edge. Is like you mentally, I remember just like mentally racking through and I was like, I got that. Oh, that's 13. Okay. I'm sitting pretty good.
Yeah.
You know
13
what I mean?
is huge. Yeah.
Or like this, you know what I mean? You keep that mental rack going.
Hell
because we didn't really have, like I've seen a lot of people now, they like rip out their phone and film the LCD.
Yep.
Just so they can kind of keep all their clips.
Yeah, right. Like at that
tally.
time, those guys would probably you might not even see it.
Oh, you didn't see it?
A
'cause it was
16 mil,
No.
right? You don't see it at all.
So you could think that you had a frontside 7 or a cab 9.
No,
and
but
then,
it doesn't turn out.
No, when you get in the edit bay and Dogger's just like, he's
It's
looking at you just
a
like,
little,
no.
like your arm flail
Yeah.
or anything. Could be anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just framed bad, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
when I mean, that's something to think about too. Is like when kids started to get instant feedback from their footage, and they could be like, "Oh no, I'll do it one more time."
Yes.
It's like sometimes it's like, "I did it."
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Yeah, I didn't really see it, but yeah, you wrote out. Look at your track," and you're just like, "Sick." And
It's
then and then you
done.
get
It's
in,
in the-
and then June comes around, and you're like, "That sucks. I would have went and hit it like 3 more times."
Yeah. I loved hearing about who are the Quebec guys like Ben Billock and Louif and LNP. Like it was Sugar Shack that they were filming with Martin and his brother. Yeah, like those guys were ruthless with each other.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't take that. They would never be like, oh yeah, that was fine. Like let's get the fuck out of here. You've been trying this all night. Like they would stay until it was dead on.
That's sick. I know.
Made those videos so good.
I've heard those stories, and we definitely had our quality control too. You know, like with because like especially on rails, like we would throw like a VX on it, so we would film an angle always with the VX, so we could watch it and be like, no, dude, your press was saggy.
Yeah.
Kind of like your front board wasn't in the middle of the bindings. So redo. But
nice.
But yeah, there was a bit of a jury, for sure. But yeah, I've heard stories about those guys, and I mean, you can see in their writing is like it perfected. They like really like getting that feedback.
Jess Camara, LMP's stuff. Remember LMP's stuff at that time was just so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It was
absolutely.
He made it look like, oh shit, like I don't even hit rails, but I would do it if I could do it like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So sick.
Yeah, man, totally. So then the Mack Dawg part that year, does it come out and you're fucking psyched?
Yeah, I mean, Shakedown. That's when Shakedown dropped, and didn't really have a song picked out. And Jeremy's like, you should check out this band, The Sounds. And yeah, I got that. That was like a big confidence booster. I was like, okay, I can like do this, and that's when everything kind of got serious, and like got some good sponsors to back it and pay, and like everyone just stepped up their game and like. Just gave me the support that I needed, like travel budgets and salaries, and like that was like one of the peaks as far as like how much people were making. Yeah,
and if you're in that list of people that have a part in the Mack Dawg movie, you can negotiate some serious money.
There's only a few videos that were like the top tier videos, and like if you had a spot, you did whatever you had to do to keep it, and the people in that spot were just like, it was it.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was a goal to something to like look forward to, that would have been like now you can put a part on your own. You don't even need any
100%
anything. It's just like on YouTube, and that's awesome in its own right. But as far as like kind of like a model or something to shoot for, it was like, yeah, I want to film for Mack Dawg.
Hell yeah.
Or Standard or Robot Food or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like,
Right around that time is when Robot Food comes out, isn't it? Pretty close.
Yeah, they came out in 2002.
Yeah.
And then 2003. That was because 2002 that's what Pulse here. And then Pulse kind of came out and it was kind of flat. It was good video. People loved it. But at the same time, that's when Robot Food came out with Afterbang. And that just like really changed the game as far as like video making, I guess. More.
Right.
Because before that, you know, like the formula was simple. It was just like sick music.
Yeah.
Quick editing.
Yeah.
Banger tricks. And then Robot Food actually like kind of started the editing, you know what I mean? Like putting a little more into the post.
Make it fun. Show some personalities of these people.
And cool little like personalities and editing.
It didn't look like they were like what you were describing. Like that a day shooting for Robot Food would be. Let's make this really fun.
Yeah, Travis Parker, UC, Louis Fountain.
Yeah.
Louis' part, like to the faint, like that's history right there.
Absolutely.
That's like one of the sickest parts of all time.
Well, that was where David Benedict caught my eye. I was still working in the shop at that time, and being like, this guy's always got like the ender, or like his part is my favorite part every time.
Incredible.
Who is this guy? Where did he come from? And he just kind of like blew up and then sort of disappeared. Like he quit at the top of his game.
Mm-hmm.
I've had him on the show. It was cool to talk with him.
That's awesome.
Shit was still big, but there was fun.
Yeah.
So Pulse came out. I remember Pulse being good. It was fine.
Yeah. People liked it, but I think maybe like with the, you know, Pulse kind of being it, and then with Robot Food, it was kind of like, and then also that was when Forum, that relationship, I think, I don't really know too much about that relationship between Forum and Mack Dawg.
Yeah.
But that's when that like severed.
I know the story, and I mean, it's in a nutshell, it's just like Mack Dawg was making money, and he brought his formula to Forum.
Right.
And then he realized, well, how come I'm splitting my money with Forum? I shouldn't have to do that because I'm already, if I just stayed doing what I was doing, everything would be, I'd be making all that money.
Right.
And so, yeah, basically.
Yeah, and then because then Forum went in to make video games that year.
That's right.
So that was a thing, and it was just one of those. So there's those definitive years where it's an obvious like pivot as far as, all right, it's going in a new direction. It's like a clear change. You know what I mean? Things can kind of go for however long, like 5, 10, whatever the time block is where things are kind of like formulated, where people are in their groove. Yeah. And then something new happens and it fully just, okay, nope. It's not like it fully changes or anything, but it pivots.
yeah. The Robot Food's a perfect pivot.
Yeah, it totally
happened. Right.
Changed.
And then there was a pivot to like, you know, online edits and just like stuff that's like current. Remember those edits? DC did a bunch of stuff that was like current. I also remember Scott Stevens just like coming onto the scene. You're like, oh, this guy's just doing his own thing.
Right.
And he's got all these followers. And it's like, oh shit, there's likes and follows. Remember when that shit all came in and just everything changed?
Totally.
Yeah. Like now you're counting likes.
Instant feedback.
Yeah, instant feedback and the shit that they're doing today or whatever. And
yeah, I feel blessed like coming up in the time that I did, because I think I like straddled a couple different like cool special eras.
Yeah.
You know, just like the life of like what I've seen is like who I was a fan of, like being able to be a fan of like the Jamie Lynn Peter Line era. Mm-hmm. And then like seeing like the whole like Forum 8 kind of like, I kind of came up just past that era, you know, right. But I saw that happening in front of me.
Yeah.
And being able to be a part of that. And then the whole Mack Dawg, the end of the Mack Dawg, like it's been pretty sick.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty stoked to be in the, you know, be a part of the eras that I guess I either witnessed or was in.
Yeah. You crushed it, man. You knocked it out of the park too. Like just making
Thanks.
epic video parts, and yeah, just being a sick snowboarder. Like that's fucking cool. When did you like start settling down, meet your wife, have kids? Like, were you doing that while you were filming?
Yeah,
Holy
actually.
crap.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been with my wife. We dated forever.
Yeah.
So since we were like super young, but we didn't like get married and for a long time, and then my son Mason, he came like I think when I was like 33.
Okay.
31.
Still a
yeah.
young dad.
Totally.
That's a good age.
But yeah, so I filmed like, those years with Mack Dawg, and then I took a year off and did the Volcom video, a scramble. That was an incredible experience. Just filming with Ville. It was just me and Ville the whole season.
Oh,
and
wow.
like Nathan Yat and
Sick.
Gary Pendergrass. And
Oh, sick.
yeah. And
That's
then
rad.
we had a really good year, good experience. And I went back to Mack Dawg for like Picture This and then Double Decade. And then
Yeah.
Mack Dawg was done after that, like Double Decade. And he's like, that's it. I'm not making videos anymore. And I was just like, damn, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? And it was kind of like, that was kind of sick too. Cause I saw like, that was an end of an era, right? Like that was like, I was like bummed like for a long time. Just like, damn, this is like, I was bummed for snowboarding for that one because truly just like, damn, dude, no more Mack Dawg videos. This is crazy. This is what I grew up on. These are the Bibles,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was fortunate to like, kind of had some different opportunities. I know like Kids Know, no, they were already started. Like my kids started Kids Know in like 2004.
Yeah.
But then Videographs was starting at that same time, and then people like Pierre and Justin.
Yep.
Pierre Minahondo, Justin Eels, those dudes are making sick videos with people, and I always kind of like definitely admired their videos, and I was just kind of thinking after that, like once like the Mack Dawg thing dissolved, Cooley and Kids Know is dissolving as well. John Cooley, like I rode with John Cooley like every preseason up at the spot.
Yeah.
And we would warm up, and he was like someone I really liked to snowboard with. And I'd filmed with him a little bit for Shakedown because he was on that crew too. But he kind of got hurt, and then so we didn't get to film enough that year, and that was like a long time. That was like almost like 6, 7, 8 years since then. And he was like, "Yo, dude, I want to film with people. You should film with us." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm in."
Nice.
I was like, he's like, "Yeah, I'll talk to Pierre." And then I talked to Pierre, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm down." And that year was crazy because like it was like the first year, like I'd been filming with like JP, Jeremy, and like that whole like Mack Dawg crew. Like Daryl was on a couple of the last couple years, and I've been filming with those guys and really comfortable in like the workflow and the system and everything, and it was just like a well-oiled machine. And it was kind of crazy just to like think, okay, I'm gonna totally switch crews, because like back then, like the crew was everything, right? Like it was more than it was. I mean, it's the same now, I guess, but it was like everyone's like out trying to get clips, right? And like if you're kind of just like roaming around and you don't really have a crew, that just kind of means you're not going to really be productive.
Right.
So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm down. Like, let's do it. Cool. Let's crew up. Let's like go. And it was like me, Cooley, and Will Tuddenham, and then Pierre. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. And we got like an early Alaska storm.
Oh, damn.
And Cooley's from Anchorage, so he knows all the spots. He'd been filming up there quite a bit too.
Oh,
like,
rad.
Let's go. And I'm like, definitely. And under the whole, like, filming for Mack Dawg and that whole thing, it was just always about just like the gnarliest trick, the gnarliest spot. And like everything, like racking your brain, trying to be like new and gnarly and go big and everything. And that people year, it's like, obviously that's still kind of on everybody, right? But at the same time, I kind of looked at that season. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to snowboard on whatever thing because I was always so like selective, or like trying to find like the perfect spot, or trying to find this, or trying to find the longest rail, or this or that.
Yeah.
And that year was just like, I'm just going to hit whatever's in front of me. Like, I don't care. I don't care if it doesn't make it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting like that year, Nice Try for people was like one of the funnest seasons. I ended up getting like some of my favorite footage I think that I've ever gotten.
Rad.
Pierre was able to, because Pierre is like super artistic, and he looked at shots and he put, every filmer I've ever worked with is like, oh, like so much respect, right? But Pierre kind of was like, he approached it a little different than I guess I was like used to.
Yeah.
And he would put so much effort into just getting everything so perfect. And it's crazy because like, even if like you did something awesome, you could read by him because he'd get bummed like, oh, I screwed that up. Oh. and you could tell he's like sitting there trying to get you to do it again because maybe he didn't film it exactly the way you wanted it.
Yeah.
And because he's such a perfectionist, and that's awesome because he was putting forth, not that nobody prior, all the other films I worked with weren't in the same mindset, but it was really evident that he was like working so hard and he was working so hard to film and get it the way he wanted to, just like the rider was trying to get the trick.
Right.
So that was really cool, different experience, and it was awesome.
Nice.
To film with people. I filmed with those guys for 3 years.
Sick.
Yeah, it was like Nice Try, and then Cheers. That's when like Jeremy, JP, Joe, everybody filmed for people that year. That year was awesome because it was like the year that we kind of all like did our own thing. Like I was filming with people, and I think Jeremy was doing some Burton stuff, and there's a stepchild video, and so everyone was kind of doing their own thing, and then it was cool because like everyone I think just was like, yeah, change up. And then we came back and filmed Cheers and had a sick crew, Simone Chamberlain on that crew.
Oh my God, that guy, hey?
Yeah, no, that year was awesome. It was pretty much just like I was riding with Jeremy, JP, Joe, Simone. We had a solid crew. We were going like Finland, Newfoundland.
Oh, nice.
Newfoundland, Finland,
Minnesota.
We had Pierre was there, Justin was taking a lot of like he's handling a lot of the jump powder, and then we were kind of hitting rails, and then we were getting in the powder as well later in the season.
Sick.
But yeah, that year is unforgettable.
Yeah, it's an all-time crew.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
So yeah.
So you filmed for people for 3 seasons?
Yeah, so we did the Nice Try and then Cheers, and then the next season was when X Games Real Snow, and they invited us, basically our same crew, me, Simone, Joe, Jeremy, JP, and then like Nick and Luif, Dan. They were all doing it kind of, but we kind of just were like, well, this is our crew, we're just gonna do it together.
Sure.
So you gotta have a filmer. It's like, okay, I got Pierre, okay, I got Justin, all right. Like, you know what I mean? So it was like it we just kind of kept the same formula going.
Who won sick. That one? Was it Luif?
That was Breezy.
Oh, Breezy. Oh yeah, fuck Breezy.
Yeah. And then we did that, and then all the footage kind of ended up in that movie Good Luck.
Yeah, rad.
Yeah.
So when do you pivot out of filming and into
that? After that season, so it was kind of like after Cheers, like Billy Anderson, my TM for Volcom, and Volcom's my main sponsor.
Yeah,
because I was on boards then too.
Oh, you started riding the Volcom boards.
I started riding those Volcom boards like after Santa Cruz. So I was riding for Santa Cruz, and when they stopped making boards for a minute, then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get on the Volcom boards.
Rad.
So because they were just started to make boards for some of the people that didn't have board sponsors.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have board sponsor. I was like, oh, I want to ride the Volcom boards because it was so sick, And then Giggy was getting on, so it was kind of like a thing. It was like, all right, cool. So like then, and then so Billy's my TM, and then Ryan Boys, and those guys. I was always like doing like photography and filming like second angle, and when we're snowboarding, and I was making skate videos with some kids here in Salt Lake in the summer. Fun. So I was always like filming, editing. I always took and shooting photos. Like I always had like an interest in that. I was always like nerding out, talking to Andy Wright about photography and Rob Mathis, and then talking with Mack Dawg about filming and everything, and like, always like picking their brains, like just trying to get all that information. Like, 'cause there's a lot of downtime on a trip when you're not the one that's up snowboarding.
Yeah,
and all you do is you sit there and watch like filmers set up lights and photographers set up flashes. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, you just inherently kind of start to like pick up things. So I was always interested in that, and they kind of recognized that. And I was like getting like to be like, I had my kid Mason right before I started filming with people. Yeah. So Double Decade, that was it. The summer of the Double Decade came out. That's when I had him. So I had like at this time it was probably like a 2 to 3 year old.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Billy and Ryan were kind of like looking at like, got a lot of young kids on the squad, and then we got like some old dudes. Like, how do we like sort of like make this team kind of work right together?
Yeah.
So they offered me, hey, like, we want you to just kind of like focus on being like a quote unquote kind of like team captain position.
Yeah.
Where I'm kind of like the road sort of like film manager. 'Cause at that same time they were starting like a big push of Volcom was to hire filmers and the YouTube channel and kind of like get the whole like production going.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And so, they're like, yeah, maybe we'll get you a camera. You can do second angle. And then you're also kind of like, just, you're still snowboarding, still hitting spots and stuff like that. But at the same time, you're kind of like helping manage and bring these kids up, 'cause they don't know.
Right.
You can't just send a kid off. Like, I don't know. It's hard, I guess. They looked at me kind of in that role. So I was like, okay, cool. It's kind of crazy, but like, I didn't feel like I was like quite done. And then that year I got invited to like do X Games Real Snow, and they're just like, okay, we'll start after.
yeah, exactly.
So so that was a cool year. I did X Games Real Snow, and then after that it was kind of like we did this trip. It was like Scott Stevens, Dylan Alito, Breezy. Who else was on that trip? I don't know. But we did this. We made these road tested edits, and one of a couple of the episodes were in Minnesota, and we stacked, because like it was like all the spots. Like I'd filmed, like I'd already been on a couple of trips in Minnesota, so we had everything going. Those kids like land everything.
Yeah.
And
this generation is
nuts.
The style thing too, like that they're so on point with everything, and then just bolts. Right. Yeah. It's like it's almost too making it look too easy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like in some ways it's like there's no struggle, but and they're so perfect at what they're doing. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. You have to put a couple bails in just to show that they tried this a couple times actually.
Couple of slams. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Totally. So we produced that project, and that's kind of what started it.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, then we started filming like a bunch of like individually produced parts. They call them IP2, IP3. Sick. And I was kind of that was like my transition out of like, okay, I'm like kind of going on these trips as like a filmer, but I was still writing. I was still getting footage. It was so sick. Because the pressure was kind of off, but it was like, I was like showing up. I was like, get the jump belt. Yeah, I'm hitting this. Right. This looks fun.
Oh, that's sick.
But if it was something super sketchy, I'd be like, nah, you guys got this.
As the sport matures, one of the best things about it is that some of these roles that were traditionally like just someone at a company, right? Like a team manager. Right. Like you mentioned Billy Anderson, right? Like him being a team manager and also having been on the board out there on set or whatever you want to call it, doing the thing, makes him a better team manager because he knows how it works. And then you being kind of this senior mentor to these kids that are filming, because you've been them before, you're going to be better at your job than anyone else. Totally. Yeah, that's rad.
No, that's just kind of the Volcom way, is just to kind of bring within the wheelhouse, bring within the family. So yeah, that's just kind of how it started, and then just kind of kept going from there. It was like filming, when really kind of like what really drove it to like my first like primary angle or primary filming was Mr. Plant, Pat's movie.
Yeah.
Like in 2014.
Yeah.
Jake Price broke his collarbone pretty badly at the Dirksen Derby in December.
Yeah.
And Pat was just like chomping. So Jake was like out. Like, I can't film. I can't go on trips. I can't lift anything.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, I was like, they're like, yep, can you handle this? And I'm like, yep, sure. So I filmed I was like primary like filmer on all Pat's like street stuff, except for like maybe one trip. And then I just was like, all right, dude, like I've like so invested in this project. Like I'm going on every single trip. You know? Rad. And I was working with Jake. Jake's such a amazing dude. He's like taught me so much and always like down to like share, you know, his knowledge and information. Really got me, you know, kind of like helped me develop an eye for filming and, you know, rad. You know, he definitely just like let me find my own way, but at the same time was there to like help out.
Mentoring.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just lead by example.
I think that's like what I was just saying. I think the reason that the industry's getting better is that we've got more people with integrity in more of these positions.
Right.
And so then that's why, you know, when we're seeing these clips that are perfect, film perfect, you know, like Gimbal God stuff where you're looking at the angle going, that's impossible. That actually is impossible. It's because we've got people in those positions that have been there before. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the way that it's refined the
industry. Mean, that's what
industry.
keeps the culture going. It's just like snowboarders keeping it within snowboarding.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. You see a lot of, I mean, I've seen the last few Vans projects where, it's Tanner Pendleton. It's like a really creative eye, you know?
For sure.
And then the music and just the riders looking like they're having fun as opposed to being pushed into like impossible situations.
Totally.
Like we've matured. That's what it's come down to.
Totally.
Yeah. Is that we're not in the days of, okay, and we are though. And we're still in the days of do it bigger, add a spin, make sure it's floating. You know what I mean? Like that shit's crazy too.
Yeah.
Like the competitive athletes are just, that's where the fear and craziness is at this point. But do you see it with the kids who are coming up that are doing the filming stuff too? Like they're still pushing themselves as hard as you guys were?
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. People love it. You know, that's what I see. I see so much passion, whatever role that they decide, whether they're, making the films, filming, or they're, being the rider or doing contests, doing, street, doing, powder or whatever it is, or just turning. People just are so passionate, and there's just so many different like avenues of snowboarding now that it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much all things to all people. You could go into it and just be a kid who's recreational or a dad that's just, snowboarding along with his kid that's skiing down the hill or whatever.
Right.
All the way to like gnarly stuff.
I think the biggest challenge is now in my role is in marketing is trying to talk to all those different people, because that's a challenge.
Yeah.
It used to be like pretty like simple. Snowboarders were just snowboarders. Now there's so many different ways to snowboard.
Yeah.
And so many different people that snowboard that it's like, okay, you got to really like make sure you're trying to cover all your bases. And
Volcom pulled it off pretty good. Like I remember going down to Mount Hood from Vancouver, there was a Volcom outlet clearance store. You know what I mean? And even the shit, well, it was almost better. The shit that didn't sell was the stuff that we wanted because it's quirky and not everybody has it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like getting into Volcom jeans for myself, I'm wearing a pair right now. Like I wear no other jeans. They just fit perfect. And it didn't matter to me that Volcom was like everywhere I went. I mean, California, I'm like, oh, there's a fucking Volcom store here. I mean, Honolulu. I'm like, oh shit, there's a Volcom store here.
There's like 6.
Yeah, what the fuck? There's so much. Oh yeah, because North Shore, right, and the Volcom house and the whole thing.
Hawaii's huge.
Yeah, I bought my wife her first Volcom jacket in Honolulu.
Awesome.
It was like half price or something. I'm like, oh shit, we are getting this. Yeah. So somehow, because for so many years it was just this core, if you knew, you knew kind of thing.
Right.
And now it's like, in malls, and somehow it's not blown out.
Yeah.
It's like Vans is very similar. Like they're everywhere. They're huge. And somehow they get a pass from the cool guys in the industry as they're still cool.
It's supporting the culture, right?
That's it.
Like
That's
we
true.
do, sure, there's a lot of commercial stuff out there. There's a lot of stuff that like, you're putting in Nordstrom's and you got to do it because like the goal is to make a good business and to create a business and to grow.
Right.
I mean, sure, it would be great to be in a situation where you knew exactly what you were going to make. This is all you had to do. And you kind of maintained. Yeah. But it's never like that because there's always another team rider. There's always another something that you want to keep growing. You want to pay more people. Like there's more employees. There's more efficiencies. But also never walking away from supporting the culture as far as like, Volcom does with like athletes and we got a Louis Lopez collection in skate, like as core as it gets, Arthur Longo collection in snow. And
so
like,
sick.
And then same with Vans, like all the stuff that they support. There's, Jeff Rowley and like, all the incredible skaters that and they're still doing cool films. They're still making cool things happen. Same with Volcom and that's what's going to support it along. And you always have to be driving for the core and to stay speaking to the core or else that the core kid gets older. Like everyone's always getting, moving on and getting older and changing their interest. But once you get them at that impressionable age and they're fans, like I'm a fan of Volcom because when the Garden came out in 1993, it was like, this is the sickest brand, left an impression on me to where it's like, now if I might go into a shop and I see Brian Iguchi collection sitting next to just some like random jacket or like a North Face jacket or some other jacket that I don't really have a connection to, like I'm going to go for the Brian Iguchi jacket 100 times out of 100.
That's what happened
because
for me.
I know it.
I was looking for new outerwear. I'm just, the podcast was pretty young still. And I was asking around and the buzz at the no-show was that, everybody's bummed. Volcom's got better pieces for, unbeatable prices. Like the price was like fucking really good. And I went over and I looked at the collection and I was like, there's not a bad piece in this whole thing. Yeah. Like it's well designed, it's clean lines, and you're getting like funky prints in Gore-Tex stuff. It was like, it looked really fucking good. So as soon as I was able to get it, there was a pride there of like, fuck, I'm getting Volcom shit. You serious? That's fucking dream come true.
Yeah, I mean, we've got such an insane product team and sales team, and like it's a really like, I mean, I was just in meetings today. It was just insane, like the amount of passion that goes into that piece, every single piece, all the way down to the bottom end is so well thought out. Yeah, and it's debated. And it kind of, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's not taken lightly. And everyone is just putting their best foot forward every single day to make, not only the sickest stuff, but the smartest stuff. Like, sure, like we got like the most crazy technology that probably, it's a challenge to get the consumer to understand because it's so technical. Yeah. But like, it's so well thought out. But then all the way down to like the cheaper stuff and more price point stuff is the same way. It's so thought out in the fact that like, no, this is for this person. Totally. This is built for this person, whether they're price conscientious or they're performance tech conscientious.
Yeah, that's rad.
So it's really cool. I mean, seeing the full, like starting as a 14-year-old kid bruising his tailbone first day out, now sitting in these like marketing and product meetings about like the route down, basically understanding that the full spectrum of like what my life has been.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I have those moments where I got to reflect a little bit and I'm just, holy crap, like sitting here just grinding over some like marketing copy or some marketing like social video asset.
Yeah.
Pushing some product and you know, you get jaded and you get like, I don't know, not really like angry, but you're just like, you know, you're frustrated, or you're just like, I got to get through this and get this thing out. But then, you know, when you step back and you reflect and you're just like, wow, it's kind of a lifelong journey.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. A really good one. Yeah, you're reminding me of like going to Vegas and looking through lines and being hungover and just going, can't the rep just write this shit? Like, what are you going to advertise in the magazines?
Yeah.
Just put that together and just make sure you pick the right colors. I need to go back to bed. Like, that was agony for me, sitting in on those. Oh, and here's another jacket, and it also has a pocket, and inside the pocket there's another pocket, and then it zips up, and then there's a snap. You're like, I can't fucking do this anymore, man. Why are we in Vegas? Let's go snowboarding somewhere. Totally. But then they moved it to Denver, and it was like, why are we in Denver? Why are we doing this? You know, because somebody's got to do the work of figuring out, you know, what their market is going to be, and that stuff has always been just brutal for me.
It's definitely business. And that's what
social assets. You were using words and I'm like, oh, I hate even hearing that.
I got it all.
Yeah, I got myself an intern.
Dude, I'm like in a meetings today and I'm sitting there watching Instagram. I'm like, I cannot believe I'm like not at Brighton right now.
Yeah. When you pushed the meeting until 6, I was like, yeah, okay, he's going to go for 3 hours at Brighton. Of course. Who would miss this day? Oh, the guy who's in the meetings, man.
I was just...
That's painful.
Yeah. No, it is what it is. And,
yep. Yeah.
You know, I understand it.
Yeah, you're not complaining about your job either. Like, just to make that, like, abundantly clear. It's like, when you're talking about Volcom, you're smiling. When you're doing this, it's like, everybody knows. It's, you know, some jobs are better than others. And you've run the gamut. And you're at an epic company. Yeah. And you've been there for a really long time, as in many capacities. Pretty sick.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a great story, man.
Crazy.
Thanks for sharing it.
That's we did.
Awesome.
I mean, this is our 30th year of Volcom.
Holy
as well.
shit.
So I actually started snowboarding in 91. That's when Volcom was founded.
Yeah.
I didn't join the brand until 2001. So I've been at the brand for 20 years.
That's a long time, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. And to think like, oh, yeah, I got a box from like a team manager at the time with a little note in it. And now I'm like, now I'm like using that same vibe though. It's like, I, you know, just got on a phone with like a team writer, just like giving them their first little like, hey, you get a travel budget this year. And just sure, I got to do it on a phone call, but at the same time, it's like, it's special. And it's like, this is your start.
This is your start. Balls in your court.
Balls in your court.
I love that. That's so awesome.
No, it's cool. It's really cool. And I mean, you're sitting next to some super top secret new collections.
Look at that.
Yeah. No, we got some really good stories for 2023. I cannot wait. I mean, it's already out. We're doing a Desiree. I was actually like so ecstatic last year just to be able to, like, Des is like kind of like been there, and I've been talking to her for a long time. Someone I've like always admired, and like their snowboarding and just the attitude towards snowboarding and life. And you know, there was an opportunity to get her on Volcom like a couple years ago, and it didn't happen. And then, you know, she randomly just called me and was like, hey, like like my contract's up, like I just gonna do the diligence, just had to give you a call. And I was just like, timing couldn't be perfect or more perfect. And I was like, okay, I cannot believe you just called me right now. Sick. And I was just like, I'm just gonna start just saying, okay, this is what it would look like. And she was just like, and I was like, I know. It's crazy. Like, it's not probably what you would think, but and then she was just like, I'm down.
That's so sick.
And I was like, this is so special.
Yeah.
And getting her signed last year was just like so amazing. So amazing. It was a group effort bringing that one together. Like tons of props for the whole crew to get Des signed. So we got a Des collection coming out next year. Signature products and insane. She had like every single little working with her. And like she worked directly with our designer, Jackie Meyer, who's incredible designing outerwear. Working with, like, watching those two work and helping them, just helping do whatever I could to facilitate the workflow. And watching Des get exactly what she wanted.
Sick.
So special. It's so sick.
Yeah.
So sick. And
yeah.
her product looks amazing.
That's
we got
incredible.
Dust Box.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know how we pulled that one off, but we did.
That's epic. That's so good.
That'll be coming out in 23. Insane. Obviously, the Arthur stuff is incredible. Gooch stuff. Jamie collection.
Yeah. So
he's got a full suit.
Of course he does.
It's out this year. It's the powder pajamas, we like to call it.
Love it.
In-house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's incredible. Working with Jamie, it's like I get on the phone with him, I'm just like still a little kid.
Yeah, yeah, same every
Same with
time I talk
Gooch.
with them. Yeah, Gooch is, and they both have that similar, gentle, but like very deliberate kind of language.
Grounded in weird ways, you know what I mean? They're just so grounded in these, like, they've been through so much and seen so much. And it's just like, I'm just like, every time I just like get around any of them and just like, this is so special.
Yeah, it's like Jamie speaks in poetry. It's almost like,
It's great.
And Gooch is so, rap. Both those guys. It's sick that Volcom's got, collaborations and supports these legends.
Yeah.
Right? Because people talk about that a lot in snowboarding, how we didn't really support our legends. Jeff Davis, the first time I talked to him, he kind of did that thing like the first time I talked to Chris Roach. He was sort of like, yeah, this fucking industry sort of sucks. It turns its back on you, goes in a different direction. What direction is that? Like some shitty direction? They were both kind of pissed. And in the beginning of the show, that was pretty common. Whereas revisiting Jeff 2 years later, and little things have happened in the industry. He's back on Nitro thanks to Benny, and he's designing stuff, and there's like shit coming out that he's involved with, and he's happy. Like he's been snowboarding the whole way through. So I think that we're getting to the point where snowboarding is maturing and recognizing that we got to use a little bit of the past and a little bit of the future, and a little bit of right now, and it's kind of the best time in snowboarding.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is. Like, I look at the kids, and Mike Rav. He's like, he's like one of my favorite people to talk to on a daily basis, and just his outlook is just he's so ahead of his. He's wise beyond his years, as they say. Yeah, and he's still got that, and I don't even know how old he is. It doesn't even matter. Yeah, but in my eyes, he's like, no matter what, he's 22. Yeah, he's got that energy, and it never stops. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm gonna have his band be. So I want to do this FNRad radio thing with my friend Steve, and just launch a half-hour radio show that features music by snowboarders or snowboard music from videos. Yeah. And, it's a half-hour show. We talked to Mike Rav, and his band is Future Mystic. Yeah. And we're going to have them on early on. That's awesome. Then it'll be like short interviews with the band, stuff like that. And he was just so nice to deal with. Very professional and very like humble, and thanks a lot. Yeah. Sent me the files. I was like, great. Shit is sick.
No, he's the best.
Consummate professional. Hey?
Yeah, we just, he's been through college, and he's had a great career, but he's also like, no one's ever given him anything. Like like in a handout sense. He's always like just worked and grinded, but not in such an organic way. Like his snowboarding, his Paper Tiger came out, and I like was like almost emotional watching his video part, because like I was just like, dude, like he leaked it to me, and I was like, so stoked. But then it really hit at the premiere, and then when it went live, I watched it just again, and I was just like, dude, this. What I always tell people is like, so like, I filmed Mike Rav for quite a few years, you know, just through Volcom, you know, Mr. Plant year, I really got to know him. And then all those, like, he's always down to just ride and film and on anything. It could be a snowball and we're getting clips and we're having fun.
Rad.
And he's always got these ideas. Yeah, I got he's such a visionary, right? And seeing that part, I was like, this part finally captures like exactly what it's like to go snowboarding with him.
Dope.
Just to watch it. And that is very hard to do.
Hell
Like, I don't
yeah.
think anybody, I don't know. It just struck in such a way. I was just like, I'm so proud of this kid. Like, he just did it. You know what I mean? And it wasn't because it was some big feat. Like, oh, I overcame so many crazy things. Like this, there's some insane tricks and insane footage in there. But at the same time, it just looks so natural that I was just like, wow, this is really special.
That's rad.
Yeah.
So it's come kind of full circle where you've put the effort in on your own to do this stuff, and now you can appreciate, and you put the effort in to make sure that other people's stuff gets out there in an emotional way, and in a way that portrays them like to their fans. Like, yeah, this is what it's like hanging a day with this guy.
100%.
Oh,
no,
cool.
I get so stoked on like the whole team and whatever when everyone's doing great. It's just there's no better feeling now. It's kind of more, you know, I've moved on. Like I don't even like cameras and snowboarding in front of cameras. I'm like, put that thing away. What are you doing? Like,
Please no.
Just let me be. Like there's no filming.
Yeah. You probably still got some clips in you.
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely some times where I get juiced, but usually I just drop and I'll do it on purpose. I'm like, put your phone away. Let's just snowboard.
Nice. Yeah, that's rad. And well, thank you for doing the show. This has been absolutely awesome. It's nice to hear about your life in snowboarding, and thanks for having me in your home, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Super sick.
Appreciate it.
Right on, dude.
This is great.
Yeah, fun. All right.
Absolutely.
You gonna go powder day tomorrow?
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, in the morning.
I knew it. Awesome, man. See ya.
FNRad shoutouts this week to Seth Huot and his family for having me over to record Seth's interview. Thanks, intern Josh, for your hard work on all the Season 7 social media posts. Special thanks to Rob Dow for his continued help with starting up the YouTube channel. And Jeff Patterson is rallying to create a World Snowboard Museum and Hall of Fame. The Kickstarter is live and is something I encourage all of our listeners to donate to. Intern Josh will put a link up in our Instagram bio. Be sure to come back to the feed for more episodes of the FNRad Snowboard podcast and listen again to your favorite episodes, which are presented by Vans and brought to you by SIA Productions.